The soldier secretly cut his own photo from his ID card with a small knife. Then, while the staff member was away stamping documents, he quickly pulled out the pass from a drawer and carefully pasted the photo onto it. However, without the stamp, the pass was useless. He tried to replicate the official stamp on the document, but despite using all his skills, he couldn't leave a trace. So, he decided to break into the commander's office, where he used a pin to open the commander's safe. Inside, he took the stamp and applied it to the pass. Now, all the preparations were complete. As a South Korean soldier, he was determined to escape to North Korea because military life in South Korea was not only grueling, but also filled with the constant risk of being executed. However, just as he was about to rush out with confidence, he suddenly stopped. He sensed danger. Two sentries were glaring at him, clearly suspecting him of being a deserter. Despite their fierce stares, he didn't panic. Instead, he strode toward them confidently, pretending to be an officer conducting a surprise inspection. The soldiers quickly saluted him. He didn't ask further questions, but instead requested a pair of binoculars. By observing through the binoculars, he saw that the area was surrounded by watchtowers and fully armed patrols. Escaping in broad daylight was nearly impossible. The only exit was the main gate of the barracks. At that moment, a military ball was taking place, and drunken officers were stumbling around. The soldiers searched around and finally found a car with the keys still inside. The door was unlocked. He quickly approached a lone officer at the ball, helped him into the car, and drove off. He kept his hat low to avoid being recognized. Now, all he had to do was pass through the gate, and he would be free. But just then, the officer woke up. It turned out the officer had just been thirsty and wanted some water. The soldier quickly grabbed a bottle of water and handed it to him. The sentries, seeing that the car was carrying the corps commander, immediately dropped their inspection and saluted. The soldier sped out of the barracks. However, on the way, he threw the officer out into a field. As he was racing towards North Korea, he ran into a convoy. Although they were fellow soldiers, he was now a deserter and couldn't afford to be exposed. Worse, his gas tank was nearly empty. He couldn't escape now, so he was forced to pull over to the side of the road. This caught the attention of the convoy, and they began reversing toward him. But the soldier, always calm, didn't panic. Rather than be passive, he decided to take the initiative. He calmly walked toward them and asked if he could get some gas. The soldiers demanded his pass. He handed it over without hesitation. However, the officer didn't believe him. Military vehicles were always fully fueled in advance to prepare for emergencies. Moreover, as a soldier, the man was driving an officer's car, and he was alone. This all seemed suspicious. The officer immediately prepared to call the military office. The soldier quickly claimed he was from the security division, executing a secret mission assigned by higher-ups to transport a captured deserter, Kim Dong-hyok. Kim Dong-hyok was a traitor, and only a few people knew the secret. As the officer in charge of the operation, he, of course, was aware of it. The criminal was being held at a nearby location. Surprised that the man knew about it, the officer realized there could only be one possibility. He was indeed from the security division. So, the officer invited the soldier back to the base, refueled his car, and gave him a warm send-off. In reality, Kim Dong-hyok was the soldier's friend. The two had planned to escape together, but Kim had been caught. In the end, the soldier not only successfully rescued his friend, but also helped him escape from South Korea.